What's up, everybody? This is Tim, and I am sorry, I'm just erasing a few things while I'm talking, but I got into a little issue with Facebook today, so I will be off the platform for a week. So I hope you guys can stand it for an entire week without me. I know it's gonna be hard, but you can still get in touch with me through Telegram or whatever. So it is what it is. I'm not happy about it. I think that it's BS what happened, but it is what it is. Like I said, so I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I don't understand how they can do something like that to me when other people do 10 times worse every second on that platform, and they don't do anything about it. But as soon as I do something even remotely suspect, they kick me off for a week. Oh well. Anyways, Bitcoin doesn't seem to be doing much better either. I mean, look, we've been tumbling. This gap right here really threw us off this week. I know y'all guys were asking me about it yesterday. And man, I have no idea what happened here. I'm still waiting on an answer. It's a big gap though, and look, it filled really quickly afterwards. So maybe those gaps, if they show up on a chart, maybe you could play them. I don't know. It's worth watching. I mean, they don't happen too often. I think I've seen them maybe two or three times in my entire existence on the charts. You know what I mean? So uh, perhaps they are playable. I mean, they're not like a CME gap per se, because a CME gap has a reason for it. You know what I mean? This one right here, I'm not sure what happened. Maybe there was a hiccup on the exchange, but how come it happened on multiple exchanges? I don't. That's what I'm hearing, anyways. I haven't really done the back testing, so I guess I could go look through other exchanges. But as far as I know, it did happen on multiple exchanges. And long story short, that gap did fill pretty quickly afterwards. So perhaps those gaps are similar to CME gaps in that respect, that maybe they do fill quickly afterwards. And if you see one, maybe you could enter that short. You know what I mean? I'm not saying to do that. I'm just saying observe, take notes, man. Make a little miscellaneous section in those notes where it says, hey, a gap formed. I don't know what happened, but if I see another gap like this, I want to watch what happens again and see if it fills. That way I know there is a correlation to it. You know what I mean? Like maybe these are like CME gaps. I have no idea, guys. But what I can tell you is it's worth watching. So, anyways, we have what do we see here? We see a lot of dancing with these indicators I have on the chart. This 50 MA, look at it. It's just swirling around in here. You know why it's doing that? Because the candles are doing that. And the 50 MA follows the candles somewhat closer than the 200 MA. You can see the 200 MA has this little jostle right here, just like the 50 MA. It's pretty drastic on the 50 MA. It's not so drastic on the 200 MA. And that's because the 200 MA takes 200 candles to adjust the average versus 50 to adjust this average. So that's the difference, guys. It's not like rocket science or anything, but you can see the 50 MA is still above the 200 MA, and that's bullish. But that 50 MA is starting its descent. It won't take long for it to cross below that. First of all, it's already in the cloud, which is I consider bearish. But once it gets below the cloud, that's also bearish. So that's where we're heading. And unless we can reverse this and go back up, we're likely going to see the 50 MA cross below the 200 MA, and that's bearish. It's called a death cross. And on the 4-hour time frame, it's not as significant as, say, the daily. But once you lose the 200 MA, you know the 50 MA is right below that. In fact, I mean the 50 MA on the daily time frame, because the daily time frame 50 MA is very close to where the 200 MA is on the 4-hour. I always notice that because I look at the 4 hours so often. So what do we see here? We see some pretty decent red candles. I'm sorry, let me adjust the size and stuff, because right now they don't look like much, but now they do. But this 50 MA is down here where at about, well, we don't even need to do that. I could just hold the candle, this over here, and you can see the 50 MA right here. It'll tell you how much it is in this orange number right there. So if I hold it to the right all the way past the candles, it'll tell me where the 50 MA is, which is $54,350 basically. So there's some support down there. Where else do I see support? At around 55,000. But the reason for that is because that's where this .5 fib is, and it worked in the past as support. So I'm assuming it will again act as support in the future. Now, what I'm seeing here is we're bouncing off this 50 MA reliably. We have been this whole bull run, you know what I mean? I think we haven't been under it since October, maybe, of last year, right here. Yep, October. So, what I can safely assume is if we lose the 50 MA, things might turn bearish, guys. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. We could very well bounce off of it just like we did here and there and so forth, you know. That 1618 looks tempting out there, but it's a long shot, you know, hitting 66K. Especially after being rejected twice from 60,000 right here. It was like a brick wall there. We were really trying to get over it for days, and it wouldn't happen. And I mean, we did back here briefly, but we fell right back under it, you know. It wasn't long. Kind of reminds me of when we hit 20K and fell right back down, you know what I mean? But, hey, I'm hoping we could see this bounce off of this and hit a higher high. That's what we need, guys, is a higher high. A higher high is what's, I know I keep saying higher high, blah, blah. Higher high is what's going to keep the market bullish, you know what I mean? They want to see stuff like that. They need to see results to keep those longs going. Otherwise, people are going to start to drop out of their longs, you know what I mean? Like when they see this resistance and we can't get above it, guess what? This is the result. These drop right here. It's because people are selling and they're jumping out of their positions because they're worried we're not going to break above 60K, so they're trying to keep as much of their profit as they can, which I can't blame them. I mean, if you entered here, you only have so much profit you can let go before you exit the trade, you know? So people are exiting their trades as we speak. I mean, we're even seeing the red candles pretty big today. But what do we see right here? Support. Hopefully that 50 MA is enough to keep the bulls that entice the bulls enough to say, hey, I'm not ready for a dump yet, you know what I mean? And we can have another bounce. Like I said, this is crypto, guys. We have to be ready for anything. A dump could certainly happen. And I know that I hate to be the bearer of bad news because that guy in CCT keeps posting bear charts. And I keep telling people, you know, if you don't like it, just ignore him. But sometimes when he be posting stuff, I have to agree with some of his stuff, you know. Because the bears will show up one of these days, guys. And he's gonna rub it in everybody's face. And I don't agree with that, but I will say that I love being a bull. I love the bulls. Because everybody else is happy. You know what I mean? Everybody in the community is so excited when it's bullish. Ever since last year, whenever this bull run started, and people start saying, "Tim, oh my God," and I'm getting all these awesome messages from people thanking me for all my hard work because they're making all kinds of money. I mean. And they're so excited about it. And it's just, it's cool to see. But in a bear market, it's not like that, guys. Nobody wants to sign up for the course. Nobody wants to learn to trade in a bear market. And it's like, man, that's when you really need to learn to trade is a bear market. Because a bear market is much more difficult to make money than a bull market. And that's where you get your experience. That's where you cut your chops is a bear market. You don't do it in a bull market. A bull market is only going to... you can only win so much. I mean, it's so easy to win in a bull market. You know what I mean? Go long, set your stop loss. Once your stop loss fails, you're out of the trade. Re-enter on the 50 MA, you know what I mean? And rinse and repeat. And it's pretty simple, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's if trading was as easy as that, everybody would do it. But like I said, you'll heard my strategy before. I'll make a better video explaining it, and I hope to include some exchange screenshot in the video as well. But I'm gonna have to make sure I do that right because I'm a dummy with stuff like that. But I made this video today simply to supplement the live I was supposed to do. I'm still gonna go live on YouTube, but I can't share a chart. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share this video on YouTube, and I'm gonna get somebody to share the link on the page. That way, y'all guys can watch my afternoon analysis I'm doing for the, like I normally do during my videos, but I'm sort of just doing the live now instead of but I can't really take anybody's questions, which is a bummer. But I'm gonna post this before the live so that way people can watch it, and then you can come to the live and ask me questions. But anyways, the daily chart doesn't look so bad right now. I mean, we're above the 50 MA of the cloud, and the 200 MA is like a pretty far away, way down here at about 30,000. So, like I said, the bounces are not getting seem to be lowering a little bit. You know what I mean? Which is bothersome, I suppose. But like I said, only time will tell if this 50 MA is going to hold or not. And I don't want to try to test it. I hope we bounce before that. But that .5 fib may not hold, guys. It can't hold forever. You know what I mean? It looks like we did get a bounce from it. That's where the wick ends at about the .5. So, like I said, we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm gonna go back to the 4 hour. That's my bread and butter right there. But like I said, we're in the bottom of the cloud of the 4 hour, and that's also bothersome as well. See how we're under the 200 MA. If we close this candle, we have 3 hours and 21 minutes in this candle left, so we have a lot of time to get back above it. Hopefully we can, because that 200 MA is a big deal. It's not quite as big a deal as like the daily time frame, but on the 4 hour time frame, you can't get much of a bigger deal. Because guess what? We're about to exit the bottom of the cloud, and we'll be under the 200 MA, and we are under the 50 MA. All that's bearish, guys. And you tell the bulls about that, and possibly you know what I mean? We may end up losing the 50 MA on the daily because of all the bearish stuff on the 4 hour. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a domino effect. Sometimes the smaller time frames do prelude what's going to happen on the bigger time frames, and it's not 100% all the time, but it does happen. And like I said, that's why I always say cycle through the time frames, because sometimes you could see bull runs happen on the 15-minute time frame, like they begin on that time frame, and they steamroll and or snowball into the bigger time frames. Now, the same thing with bear markets, you know what I mean? This could be the start of something ugly, you know what I mean? Like I said, I hope it's not the case, guys, but we have we could call it downward trend like that, where we could say, hold on, I'm just thinking out loud, like that, like, maybe we will get a few bounces. I'm not saying that's the way it's going to work. It may not work like that, but we can't really say for sure because we only have this one bounce. But like I said, I'm watching things like that. I always am thinking ahead in that respect, and I expect you guys to do the same. It may not work out. You don't have to leave it on the chart, but it's something you could check out, and you know what I mean? Think ahead like that. You know what I mean? Be like, oh man, I see this line forming. Maybe that line will come into effect. If we bounce off of here, we may hit that line and then hit it down again, which will be a continuation pattern, which is very common in crypto, very common in any trading situation. A continuation pattern is just like a stair step down a trend. And hopefully this .5 fib is about 55,300. It says, I think, yeah, about there, and it looks like it's holding for now. So we have that and the cloud, but the cloud is almost over. You know what I mean? If we drop much more, we're out of the cloud. If another candle shows up, or we're out of the cloud, unless we go back up to about 56,500. We're going to exit the cloud, and exiting underneath the cloud is bearish. So like I said, hold on to your butts, because you never know what's going to happen in crypto. One thing like that could be the prelude to a bigger thing. Like I said, what I would watch for is the 50 MA on the daily. That's what I'm more worried about than anything. If we lose that, then I would say I'm starting to get bearish. You know what I mean? Like maybe I'm going to start reconsidering my trading strategies from bullish to maybe a possible bear strategy. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not difficult. I mean, going into USDT on the way down and then rebuying Bitcoin whenever you think a bounce is going to happen. It's basically the gist of it, but you have to get good, because you buy here, you only get this bounce, but if you buy here, you get this bounce. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where your patience is part of it too, because you might sell here thinking it's over when you could have sold here and got a lot more profit. And that's why I always recommend walking up your stop losses, because it keeps you in the trade for as long as you can. You know what I mean? That's what you really ultimately want, is to stay in that trade and keep that profit rolling. You know what I mean? Because that profit's important. You don't want to miss out on all this profit because you were in a hurry to sell right here. You know what I mean? Like, we're going down, I'm going to sell. That's what that stop loss is for. Keep that stop loss set, and you won't have to worry about selling. You know what I mean? And I've had a stop loss not trip. Don't get me wrong. They don't trip sometimes, and that's the worst feeling in the world. But I wouldn't recommend them if they did it that often. You know what I mean? I would only recommend them if they work more often than not. And that's the way they do. They do work more often than not. I'd say about 98% of the time my stop loss is tripped and work fine. So that's why I always recommend using them. They're like a nail gun. I mean, people can say, "Oh, you can just use a good old fashioned hammer, and that's all you need." Well, why not use a nail gun? You know what I mean? It's there. It's helpful. It's beneficial to use. I'm not gonna throw my arm out using it. It's just I like to use analogies like that. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things I like to do. Baseball is like it's like baseball too. I mean, and it really is, because you think about the way you get up and you get into the batter's box and they're pitching to you, but you don't have a strikeout. You can't strike out if you don't swing. So every swing is an investment. If you miss, it's a bad. If you hit it out of the park, it's a good investment. So you sit there, wait for the perfect pitch. It doesn't matter if you miss 30 good pitches. Those pitches might have been good pitches for somebody else to hit out of the park, but for you, you wait until that perfect pitch comes your way and you hit it out the park. That could be on trading too. You could sit in USDT for months waiting for that perfect spot. Okay, and then buy, and then have your sell. And you know what I mean? And like I said, you do you. Don't let anybody tell you you're doing anything wrong. Okay, I just want you guys to understand that, because trading isn't easy, and you have to learn through experience. And sometimes it's best to, like, I had some people that were like, man, I was doing so good until I started, until I really started getting more knowledgeable. Like, it seemed like he was doing good by happenstance, on accident. You know what I mean? Like, when he first started, and then he starts reading the charts more himself, learning things about it, and it seems like then he shoots himself in the foot after that. But what the real thing is that he was trading during a bull market, and he came into a bear market, and it's much harder to trade in a bear market, let me tell you, because you think it might go up, and it only goes up, like, you're like, man, I'm gonna buy here, it goes up here and then drops again even farther. You know what I mean? And that is what really kicks you in the you know what I mean? You just hate it. Bothers you a lot. So it's one of those things you have to roll with the punches, so to speak. So I hope you guys have gained something from this. It was not as good as a live. I'm still gonna go live on YouTube tonight, but in the meantime, I wanted to make this so that way I can cover this. The Bitcoin aspects, and y'all could, because you could see, look, this is a continuation pattern: drop, up, drop, and it's not cut and paste like some of them are, but it is obviously a continuation pattern. See, because you drop, you ascend a little bit more, and then you drop again, and this could be another one where we go like this. Look. Continuation patterns are so common on a chart, guys, so I just want you to get familiar with them. And the continuation patterns can also usually outline a trend, which you can usually draw lines around it and find a trend that way. You know what I mean? And this is what I would think, right, for that possibly. So that's how a continuation pattern would work. What I'm hoping happens is, look, this is already turned green, so that's bullish. Hopefully we can get this above the 200 MA, In the next 3 hours and 15 minutes, we should be able to, but that's a long time. So hopefully this candle will close above that. Hope specifically this 0.618. That would be bullish. But if we can close above the 200 MA, that would even be good because that would mean we closed the candle above it, confirmed that it is support, and then we can do the bounce up, hopefully, instead of the bounce down, which it's going to make all the difference in the world. This single candle right now, guys. So by the time I go live, it'll probably be close to painted. If not, I mean, it will be maybe when I'm talking. So we'll pay attention to it. Like I said, maybe we won't see it happen, but maybe happen right after I'm done. But like I said, it's going to make all the difference in the world whether or not we close below this blue line right here or above it. So like I said, guys, let's watch it and see. You know what I mean? Hey, if I were entering a trade right now, I would wait until this candle closed. That's how crucial it is to me right now. So I want you guys to understand that. Waiting to enter a trade sometimes is a smart thing to do. And also, if you don't have even if you like, man, I don't know, I don't want to trade with this. I don't think that it's. I think it might go up, but I'm not sure. You know what I mean? So hey, let's do this instead. I'm gonna put a. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to do all this stuff. So you can like make a little spot where you put buy, and that's where you put your buy in, okay? And so then you have your candles forming for days afterwards, and then you can see how you were gonna play. You know what I mean? Like, where would you sell? Would you sell after it hit here, or would you wait till it hit here, or what if it drops here? Or would you sell? So it's one of those things where you don't necessarily have to trade with money. It's called paper trading, and I recommend it a lot because it is a very useful way to make mistakes without losing money. You know what I mean? I did it a lot whenever I first started. I had like $200 to trade with, and for the longest, I didn't have much money. And it was back whenever I had so many bills, man, and I just couldn't afford anything, and I hated it. And long story short, I had $200 saved up, and I said I'm putting it in Binance, and that's back when Binance was available in the U.S., regular Binance. So I had this $200 just sitting there collecting dust, no, not accruing anything. Bitcoin would go up and down. You know how it went back then, dude. I was in the middle of the bull bear market, so it was not the worst idea to keep it in Tether. You know what I mean? So I had it in Tether, and I was thinking, I'm going to pull it out and buy some. I'm going to pull it out and buy some. And I never would, and that's because I would. But what I ended up doing was starting to, just write down, like, I'm buying this much of so-and-so. And I would do it with ADA and Bitcoin. And actually, I started to buy ADA before I really started focusing on Bitcoin. And the reason for that was because I was a noob. And I thought, oh, well, I could buy more coins, full coins of ADA. So if it goes up, I have a chance of getting more money. And it was just, it's asinine to think that way because it's not the way it is, guys. You owning a portion of a good coin is better than owning 10 million of a crap coin. You know what I mean? And that's the way it is. It's just the way it is. And I know sometimes that's not right. Sometimes some of these alts do well. Don't get me wrong, but don't insult my intelligence and act like any of them have done better than Bitcoin over their entire lives. So Bitcoin has done how well over the 13 years it's been around. Of course, it's been around longer than any other coin, but that's what I'm talking about, life to life. And some of these coins have gone up a lot more than Bitcoin this run. But that doesn't mean over its lifetime it has, you know what I mean? And that's the whole thing about it, is if you got into Bitcoin when it was low, like Ash, my friend, she was telling me that she used to get on a faucet that gave you 5 Bitcoin every time you did it. And it was like every 15 minutes you could claim them. And it was back when Bitcoin was worth nothing. And, I mean, you could literally have set yourself up for life back then if you would have just known about this faucet. And what a shame, man. I wish I would have known about that. You know, there's things like that, like I forgot this ONT is the name of the coin. Did a thing before it did a launch. It had a newsletter. It said sign up for this newsletter, and you get 1,000 free ONT. And I was like, whatever. I don't want any of that. And I just ignored it. Well, a lot of people I did know didn't ignore it, and guess what? They got $10,000 off of that. I was like, man, dude, off a simple newsletter. You know, so it was after that where I was like, I'm not letting opportunities like that pass me up. So I've done a few dumb things, but like I said, you know, if you're gonna sign up for something that's a possible scam, make your own email. Make it do a new email. In fact, I just made a security video. Whenever you do a new thing, make a new Binance account, make a new email. Okay, if you use that email for that Binance account, and then you open a Coinbase account, don't use the same email, use a new email. Just keep doing it that way, guys, because if you get hacked, imagine if that hacker has to hack into 18 different emails to get all your crypto. That's going to be a very big pain, and he's going to move on to the next guy, or he's going to hack that one account he got of yours, and that's it. You know what I mean? And that'll limit your liability. And I remember Todd Blackburn did a video where he explained that. And I remember people scoffed when they heard it at first. I remember it. I was like, people were like, no way, I'm not making a new email for every account. And it's very smart to do it. Believe me, you don't want to be that guy that gets caught with your pants down, so to speak. I have a friend that got SIM hacked, and it was just bad for him. You know, he lost 6 figures. I think 5 or 6 figures. Oh my goodness, that is horrible. You know, I don't know what I would do. You know, it would make me go off my rocker. You know what I mean? And the thing is that a lot of times these guys at the phone company, people will call them and say, hey, I need your phone number changed because I lost my phone and this is me, and they don't even ask questions. They're like, sure, and they just change it. You know what I mean? And then after that, it's just a domino effect. Hey, I got his number. Give me his email stuff. You know what I mean? I need to I'm not sure exactly what happens. I'm not a computer genius, but it happens all the time. These SIM hacks happen, you know what I mean? And you don't want to get caught because there's no guarantee you'll get your money back. Crypto's like one of the least insured assets out there, you know, because nobody wants to insure something that gets hacked like that, you know. And it's not that Bitcoin is a failure and can get hacked. Bitcoin is very strong and it doesn't get hacked. It's not Bitcoin getting hacked. It's the exchanges that get hacked, and they somehow break into the wallets and they send those Bitcoins. So the Bitcoin security in itself is very strong, very, very strong. But it's not the security we're talking about here of Bitcoin. We're talking about security of exchanges. And Ash told me 90% of exchanges have been hacked, and I'm pretty sure it's a conservative. It may be more. And the reason why is because even a simple one person getting hacked on an exchange is considered a hack. But a lot of these exchanges have been hacked seriously, like Cryptopia, for example. Nobody's getting anything out of that right now. You know what I mean? They may end up waiting for decades before anything materializes. It's a joke. But, if anybody had money on that exchange, that should teach you a lesson right there. Start trusting the big daddies. Don't trust some small time place like Cryptopia. If you do, you're going to end up losing your money. You know what I mean? You just seen what happened. I mean, even places that are big. What was that? Mt. Gox? Mt. Gox was giant back then. And still, people lost money. And people are supposedly going to get money back. But, who knows when that's going to happen? You know, it's just a nightmare. So, the best advice is to keep your Bitcoin in cold storage and only keep what you want to trade with on the exchange. That way, if it does get hacked, guess what? You're only going to lose a little bit of money. That money that's on the exchange, you should be ready to lose that anyways in a trade. So, at least it won't kill your I don't know the best words, but it just won't. It won't knock you out of the game. You'll be able to recover. You know what I mean? And that's That's what it's all about, guys. You don't want to get stuck with your pants down, and that's crypto. Believe me, if somebody hacks you, they're not leaving you with anything. And if you have all your accounts tied to one email, they're gonna get into all those accounts. They're gonna see all the emails you've gotten from different places. Like you get one from Coinbase, you got an email from Binance, you got an email from Kraken. They're gonna go to every one of those places since they see the emails from there, and they're going to use the same password you use for every single. You know what I mean? You probably, if you use the same email for every single exchange, you probably use the same password too, and they're gonna use that same password for every exchange, and they're gonna pop. It's gonna catch you off guard. You need to be prepared before a hack happens. You need to be ready for security. You need to have security on your mind before you get hacked, and that's what I am encouraging you guys to do, is pay attention. You know what I mean? It's not rocket science here, guys. We're just talking about some common sense, easy things you can do to keep yourself from being a victim. And that's the worst feeling in the world, is opening up your account and seeing that somebody's drained it. You know what I mean? Oh my God, that would just be and it's never happened to me, thank God. But man, I just dread the day that hopefully it doesn't. I mean, even if it's just my trading money, I'm still gonna be upset. And one thing about like Binance, they have a insurance program with their BNB where they take a portion of they burn BNB every quarter, and they take a portion of that instead of burning it and put it into an insurance program, and that covers if somebody hacks. And I think they've already used it before, so that shows even the big dogs like Binance get hacked. Coinbase, I'm sure, has been hacked. So I want you guys to be ready for anything. You know, it's like, I mean, there's no reason not to be, guys. It's just very dangerous out there, and I just want what's best for you. But like I said, I wasn't going to go on all day, but you know how I go with these videos. If you guys want me to well, look at the RSI. The RSI is pretty low, so that's a good sign, guys. Maybe we will bounce here. Fingers crossed. But like I said, we'll see. Whenever I go live in 2 hours, we'll see. So anyways, I'll see you guys when I go live, and we'll talk about this a bit more. But I'm going to go ahead and share this video as soon as it's done buffering. And I'll get somebody in the Telegram to share it, and then from there y'all can watch it, and then we can discuss it in the live on YouTube. And if nobody shows up for the live on YouTube, you know what? It's my fault. It's not really my fault. It's Facebook's fault. I can't believe they banned me. It's such ridiculousness, guys. I wish that I could do something about it. You know what I mean? I wish that I had an alternative site that I could go to that was better than Facebook. You know what I mean? And it's so hard to find something that's even comparable right now. So until that happens, guys, I figure out we're stuck. You know, and unless somebody has a suggestion for me, I'd love to hear it, because man, I want to be there for you guys. I wanted to go live. I love doing my live. Y'all know I love going live for you guys. I love to blab your ears off on Wednesday night. But unfortunately, I won't be able to do that tonight. So I'm recording this video now. Why don't you guys watch it? Let me know what you think. Throw me some questions in the live when I go live here in 2 hours, and we'll see what happens. But I appreciate it, guys, and y'all have a good one.